Hello, welcome to Gardening at 58 North. So in this video I'd like to give you guys an update on my ginger plant. So when I planted this ginger plant back at the beginning of the year, I also planted a turmeric tuber as well. The turmeric tuber unfortunately was positioned in the polytunnel in a drip zone, so it got too wet and it also got red spider mite. It hasn't died, but it's only grown a few leaves and they keep dying. Basically it keeps growing new leaves, but the old ones keep dying off almost as soon as they grow, so it hasn't really grown at all, and it will probably die this year unfortunately. But the ginger's done really well. This is the ginger plant here. As you can see, it's got quite tall. This is the tallest shoot. It's probably about 3 foot long now, so it's got quite a nice size. There's also a lot more shoots than when I grew it last year. When I grew it last year, the shoots were a lot shorter, so I think they probably only grew about this high, probably about just over a foot, whereas most of these are about 2 foot long now. As I say, some of them are getting up to 3 foot long. It's growing really quite well. There has been a few issues though, and I'll talk about them in this video. So one of them has been thrips, and that's what's caused most of this browning that you can see on the leaves. What the thrips do is they're a very small insect that sucks the sap from the plant, and I did have them last year. Last year they actually caused more damage than this year, but they still caused quite a bit this year. And they cause kind of a browning effect on the leaves, and they cause the leaves often to roll up and not form completely as well. But they often cause the leaves to roll up because it's normally the younger leaves they attack. And some of the dryness on the ends of the leaves will also be from the low humidity levels, but generally the humidity levels haven't been too bad here in the conservatory. But apart from the obvious damage from the thrips, it's actually quite dark green looking, the plant. It's looking really quite healthy at the moment. Say lots of shoots have come up and all the foliage looks quite nice. So you can see here, moving on that foliage there's a little thrip, a little brown one there. They're often a kind of pale green colour. As I say, there's a few on here. Hasn't been as bad as last year because I've had some predatory mites that have taken care of most of the thrips, but they have caused a little bit of damage. And when it comes to the growth of this plant, all the shoots have been growing constantly. When I grew it last year, it seemed to reach maximum height and then sent up new shoots. So this one, for example, was the first shoot it sent up. It sent up about 3 originally, and this shoot is the tallest now, and it's still growing. It's still got new leaves coming on it, so I'm not sure how much taller this one's going to grow. It's getting towards the end of the growing season now. With the plant having got so much height on it now, I was thinking it might flower soon, but we're getting towards the end of the growing season, so the chance for a flower is now diminishing. But it's good to see how well it's done this year, and possibly next year, if I plant the same tuber again a bit earlier in the year, and I keep the tuber a decent size, I think I might actually be able to get flowers next year, which will be quite nice. So the main problem I had with this year is I started it a bit too late. I find with the ginger plants, once they go dormant, they stay dormant for many months. So if I can keep this growing, I will do that. I'll just keep it going. And if it goes dormant, I need to try and bring it out of dormancy a few months before I want it to grow. So probably January time I'd start heating it up. Just because even though I planted this around March, April time, it wasn't until probably June that I saw any kind of growth coming above ground. It really does take a long time with ginger plants to get them to start growing. So I can come down here and show you some of the other growths it has. You can see there's quite a few new shoots coming up. So I think these 3 back ones, or possibly this one and these 2 were the original ones. It's grown up all these new ones recently. The most recent ones are these 2 at the back here, and also a couple of shoots down there. What it tends to do is these new shoots, around the new shoot is where the new tuber forms. So I'll scrape back some of the compost now and show you how the tuber is doing. I haven't actually looked at it yet, but it should be pretty good. So this is actually all the old tuber down here, and it always tends to grow in one direction. So the problem I'm having at the moment is it's actually pushing really hard against the plastic, and it's starting to buckle the plastic, so it probably will be struggling to grow now. The tuber is going to be deflected off the plastic and go down or up because it can't grow anymore that way. So when I replant this, I'll probably cut off some of the old tuber and bring it back so it can grow in that direction. And that's the thing with ginger tubers, they always tend to grow in the same direction. If they're a very big old tuber, they might eventually kind of circle around on themselves, but you can see in this one, it's all growing on that one side. But if I scrape back one of the growing shoots, you should see some fresh growth in the tuber. And you can tell the difference there between the old one, the old growth and the new growth. There's the old growth, you got this kind of brown, scaly skin, whereas on the new one, it's a lot softer. And you can see it's just peeling off there. I have to be careful not to damage it too much. And it's got more of a yellow colour, so that's fresh tubers there. And so most of the tuber growth should be from here towards the edge of the pot, because this is all the old tuber here. I expect a lot of it is underground because it's been pushed underground by the edge of the pot, so we might not see a huge amount near the surface, but certainly around every shoot we should see something coming up. What the plant tends to do is it sends up a shoot, and then around the base of that shoot, that's where it swells up a new tuber. It'll then put out another little side shoot from next to it, and that little side shoot will then go up and start forming leaves and then swelling up the tuber as well. So you can see there, for example, we've got the old tuber here and we've got the new tuber forming just at the base. So I'm not sure how many roots we've got there. It doesn't look like a huge amount at the moment, but I suspect it should have grown quite a lot because there's so much top growth at the moment. It's going to be absorbing quite a lot of sun throughout the whole season, so we should have some decent tubers to harvest at the end of the year. And I will do an update later in the year when this has died back. But I just wanted to show you this now before it looks any worse. It's the brown patches on the leaves are starting to get worse in the last few days. I think with the colder weather, the humidity has dropped here in the conservatory. It's now the middle of October, but it's been a particularly dark October this year. We haven't had any direct sunshine for probably a week or so, so it's really been struggling with the low light levels and the low temperature as well. It's just going to slow down the growth completely and probably go dormant soon. So that's why I wanted to give you an update now before I dig up the tuber, whilst it's still looking good, because the next update, the top half will probably be quite brown and dead. So what I'll probably do now is I'll start reducing the amount of water I'm giving it. I have also been giving it tomato feed since about the middle of summer, just so it focuses its energy into the tuber growth and not so much into the leaf growth. I'll see how it does. If it's still looking quite healthy even in November, I won't completely stop the watering. I'll only reduce it at this time of year so it's a little bit dry in between waterings. And then when it comes to later in the year, if it's still looking quite green, I'll just keep it a little bit damp throughout the winter. But if it starts going yellow at all, I'll completely stop watering, and that'll just let the whole thing go dormant, because it will be interesting to see if this will continue to grow or not. When I had it last year, it did stop growing probably kind of this time of year, so October, and then November, December it went completely brown and died back. So I'm expecting something similar this year, especially as it's in a slightly cooler position. It's here in the conservatory. Last year it was on my kitchen windowsill, so it was much warmer all year round. This year it's going to be getting cooler as the winter months come, so I suspect it will die back soon, but I'm very happy with how it's done. I don't think I'll harvest many of the tubers. I might harvest some of the shoots just for use in a stir fry. I can cut up the stems and use the green shoots just to add some flavour to it. But the actual tubers themselves, I'll dig them up and I'll make a decision later on. But I think I'm just going to grow this more as an ornamental plant. I do really like the look of the leaves. It looks nice and tropical, almost a bit like bamboo actually. So there's quite a nice appearance to the plant. I think what I'll do next year is I might actually get some hardy gingers as well. I quite like the appearance of it. So I'll probably get them and put them out in the garden, see if I can survive in our climate. But that'll definitely be a different species, because this type of ginger, which is the one that you eat, it really can't grow outside here in Scotland. But you do get hardy varieties which can survive our colder temperatures. So that's about it for this update. I'll give you guys an update probably sometime in the winter. Either this will be surviving and I'll be keeping it going through to spring, or the top half will be dying off and we'll have a good look and see how the tubers are doing.